Bub Nation.
Let's go.
Let's go, baby. DNVR Buffs prime time. Oh boy. Is it finally happening, RK?
Oh, I mean, is what finally happening? Is Juju Lewis finally going to commit to Colorado? Are the haters finally going to eat crow? Are the Buffs finally going to make their rightful return to the conference championship game? What exactly is finally happening?
All of the above. We'll talk about it today. But what I was actually asking you about was Julian Lewis. He finally decommitted from USC. He did go visit Georgia this weekend, and I know there's some people still concerned about that. But then Georgia's 247 sports reporter puts in a crystal ball that Julian's going to commit to Colorado.
Yeah, man. I've said it once, I'll say it a million times. When it comes to high school recruiting, don't count your chickens before they hatch. That being said, we have been confident about Juju Lewis being a Colorado Buffalo since, I was going to say June, but I think it goes even before that. I'll say around May. And certainly things have only shifted for the better in the last 48 hours or so. This has been one that we've been waiting for, and I think we are close to a conclusion here.
I think so too. I think Julian is ready to finally give his commitment. I think that they're ready to finally build this recruiting class up because, oh my gosh, this team has so much momentum in terms of recruiting right now. I mean, not just the guys that were there this last weekend in Juju, but Naeem Offord's out there, Nathaniel Wosu-Boateng's throwing out Colorado picks. He wasn't even in town for the game. He was there earlier in the week. He's throwing up picks in uniform. He's supposed to commit, I think, at the beginning of December. So Michigan's already recruiting like another linebacker flip target and stuff. Everything's pointing in Colorado's direction.
Where there is smoke, there's fire, my friend. And the smoke has just been building and building and building. And no, I'm not talking about the smoke coming from the student section. I'm talking about real deal recruiting smoke. And Jake, it's easy to let this get lost in the excitement of the season, as it should. Everything should get lost in the excitement of the season. I can barely think about anything. It's Allie and I's 8-year anniversary today. I had to, lock in. But it's easy to forget that we talked about this before the season and going all the way back to honestly last season. It's like the only thing stopping Colorado from being a absolute recruiting powerhouse right now, and of course Colorado and Coach Prime from being an absolute recruiting powerhouse, is wins. And last year, it didn't quite work out. There's several games that could have gone the other way that maybe would have flipped it, but they didn't get the wins they were looking for, and they were still able to improve the roster greatly. And we even said, like, just wait till next year when this team starts winning. And now they are, and now the dam just might be about to burst.
I mean, RK, it's that, but it's the guys like Jordan Seaton, Cash Cleveland, Draylon Miller, all these young guys coming in, and not to mention the transfers too. I mean, Sam Okunlola, DJ McKinney, these are young transfers coming in, and they're balling right away, and kids are seeing that, and they're realizing, well, why not me, pretty much. It is the wins for sure, and I think that's a lot of what played into Julian's decision to kind of postpone this for so long too. I mean, they are in the middle of a high school, like, state title playoff push right now too. By the way, Carday Smith's season's over, so maybe we get a decision from him soon too.
Man, it's crazy. And I saw there's a report out there. I mean, you mentioned the NOB buzz. There's a report out there about, why do I keep forgetting his name? Gibson, the speed receiver.
Yeah, from Texas.
Yeah. And like they said, he's a 3-star in what I saw, which is crazy because that dude's film, he can absolutely fly. But I mean, it's just one thing after another starting to add up. And to me, it makes perfect sense because this season is checking all the boxes that people needed, in terms of proof of concept of Coach Prime at the Power 5 level is all clicking. Girls Club here just mentions Draylen's name. Like when Coach Prime goes up there and says, "We don't target you unless we want you to play early," and then people see Jordan Seaton on track to probably potentially being a straight up All-American, definitely being a freshman All-American. You see that. Then you see Cash Cleveland, and that enforces what Coach Prime said about we don't care about your stars. We just care if you can ball. And then you see Draylen Miller go out there and lead the team in receiving, and that, reinforces that when you come here, you're going to play. And like what I'm trying to get at here is what we talked about last week, which is everything Coach Prime said is coming true. And if you're a recruit and you've heard this stuff and then you see the proof of concept out on the field, well, now there's nothing left for you to worry about. What are you waiting for? Pull the trigger and be a Buff.
Yep. So as it stands right now, Colorado's the 15th class in the Big 12 out of 16 teams. Things are about to change a lot over here over the next 2 weeks because, we're going to have a Heisman Trophy ceremony. We're going to have a potential Big 12 title game. And then we have early national signing day and the portal opening all in this like month period about to happen. It's just about to be fireworks all over, and it's going to be Coach Prime in Colorado at the center of it.
Yeah. And, you're essentially like, so right now, the lowest possible thing is that Colorado goes to a really good bowl game.
Yeah.
That alone is enough for a lot of guys. They wanted to see, okay, can this team win 7, 8, 9 games? Again, that is the absolute bottom. The next step up is Colorado's playing for a Big 12 championship. Oh, by the way, along with the bowl game is the Heisman Trophy ceremony. That's happening. Mm-hmm. And there will be at least one, if not 2, Colorado Buffaloes there. The next level up is the Big 12 championship game. Then more dominoes start to fall. Okay, now, if you don't believe right now that Colorado can compete for a championship, well, you're probably hiding under a rock. But if you got to see them show up in Dallas, there's another thing. Check it off the list. Imagine they win the Big 12 championship game. Now you've won a conference championship. You're putting up, a banner. Then you go to the college football playoff. Who knows what seed you get, whatever. Maybe you're already in the second round of the college football playoff before you even play a game. Well, then let's say you win a playoff game. Now you're in the Final Four. It gets crazier and crazier. And and I would say crazy just in the sense of like the momentum that could happen in the next 4 to 8 weeks is just mind-boggling to think about. And the flips that could happen. You better believe every good player that's considering entering the portal in the country was thinking about coming to Colorado. This has a chance to explode in the next, honestly, 6 weeks.
A complete takeover of college football. If Colorado doesn't lose a game the rest of the season, their national title, like they're the winners. They win the whole damn thing.
Yep.
It's crazy. Going back to Juju, when do you think he announces a decision?
I will say within the next 7 days of right now.
Okay. I'd probably say the same because you never really know.
Well, and, talking about momentum, in the end, whatever, Juju thinks is best for him is what he's going to do. But if I can for a moment talk about what's best for me, or it's best for us, or it's best for the Colorado Buffaloes, it's to have the Juju pin pulled with one more, home game of official visits to be able to have before, signing day and all that good stuff. So if Juju were to announce sooner, then every player, who wants to come see Colorado and is waiting for that pin to be pulled has a chance to come see Folsom at what very much could be its absolute best.
It's going to be exciting times. You want to talk about the game? What else do you want to get into?
Sure, yeah, let's talk game.
All right. Well, you start us off then. What's really on your mind after, I guess, 48 hours removed from Colorado's big win over Utah?
Honestly, the defense. I think that every single Colorado football fan, and maybe even some haters, know that when this team absolutely needs a drive, you want the ball in Tu's hands, and he's going to go make it happen. But a lot of times this year, the offense has not even been put in a position to do that because the defense has absolutely balled out. I mean, it happens on the first 5 plays of the football game. Shador throws an interception, defense bows its back, holds them for 3. That Arden Walker sack on that third down play is like so huge. And, you never think about this stuff when the score is 49-24 when all is said and done. But games change in the first 10 minutes. I believe that wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. And let's just say that, Utah gets that thing in the end zone. They just feel different when they go back to the sideline. And I don't think they necessarily win that game, but I also think there's a chance it might be a little bit closer. And like the amount of times where I've felt that way this season because the defense went out there and did something really, really important in a big moment is just crazy. The way that they were hitting out there on Saturday, it comes through way more clearly on the game broadcast than it did when I was just sitting in my seats. I mean, for the first 20 minutes of the football game, every time someone gets pads on a Utah player, they are cracking them. And that just sets a different tone. And, I think I mentioned this a little bit on the post-game show, but it starts with the defense, and it's especially the defense. But watching Colorado bully Utah was a really cathartic experience because Utah has been the bully, not just to Colorado, but to a lot of people over the last 10 years or so. So it was pretty cool to see them go out there and little brother them.
Yep. I mean, that was my big takeaway immediately after the game was, I mean, I've said it a few times now at this point, but less than 2 years ago, it was 63-21. The game was over before halftime even. It was 42-0 at halftime when these two teams played. So this was almost like an announcement of an arrival for Colorado. Just we're not going to putting the foot down almost. No, the tables have turned. We're going to be the ones dishing out the punishment. And going to your point about the defense too, it's like this. It's very rare in football. You feel that inevitability and you have that trust factor with any side of the ball. And we saw that here in Denver in 2015 with the defense. And that feeling you have when you can just completely trust your defense and that they're capable of having a game-changing play on every single snap, that lingers, man. That really can hamstring an offense and get them playing outside of themselves a bit, maybe pressing too much or even playing too conservatively because they're scared of what's on the other side of the football. But I'm with you. I mean, it's guys like Amari McNeil, who's Big 12, co-Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week this weekend. He's been just going crazy. Arden Walker looks like a potential top 50, top 100 NFL draft pick if he keeps along this trajectory. He's had a great season. And then the guys in the secondary, I mean, Shiloh had a big hit, forced fumble. DJ McKinney gets his first pick. It's just everyone's balling at an elite level, especially on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and what you're talking about in terms of trusting the defense and kind of what I talked about in terms of trusting the offense in big moments, it just goes to something that I was thinking about today and also when I was rewatching the game yesterday, and it's that word trust. Belief is one thing, and I think that as a fan base, Colorado fans really did a good job this year of believing. And belief is something that you can conjure up. Trust is something that you have to see to believe. You know what I'm saying?
It's earned.
Exactly. Trust is earned. And I just am almost laughing at myself thinking about the anxiety that I had when I went to sleep on Friday night before the Colorado State game. Because, they had lost to Nebraska. That was really painful for everyone. And it was just okay, we can't have anything weird happen tomorrow. The world is watching and waiting and hoping that they get to just, put a stake through our hearts. And now I think about I didn't have an ounce of anxiety when I went to sleep on this Friday night.
Yeah.
And I think, well, it doesn't matter. I think Utah's probably still better than Colorado State. And it's just like the way that this team has played, even including the Kansas State game, because, you know, that game's frustrating. It's tough that they lost it. But they played so well, I thought, in terms of the grand scheme of things, and the way that they came back in that game is like stuff that real football teams do. And so ever since really that moment leading up to that game, this team has just done anything and everything they can to earn the trust of the fan base. And that's why going into this week, it's just like, hey, look, I mentioned this a little bit last week too, but it's like, I don't need to hear like, I hope they don't overlook Kansas. It's like, we're so far past that. And this team, you know, is going to probably have some difficult and testing moments in that game against Kansas. And I have so much trust in them to be able to handle that and, you know, end up on the right side of things.
Yeah, and there's like a different level of like hunger and want. And we've heard that from so many people this year. I think it was Michael Westbrook when we talked to him on the pregame show a few weeks ago, who was saying that you can just sense it. It's different this year for this team, for this coaching staff. Those moments like Nebraska, like the K-State game, like those aren't in other seasons, and for other teams, those might be moments that could derail a season, you know, truly ruin a season. Maybe even similar to Colorado last year where you fall off a cliff. But there's a different level of, it is trust, but it is like a hunger. It's a desire to just, and also just knowing that what you're truly capable of, that you're better than those moments, those lowest moments that you've had. And that's championship stuff, man. That is really championship pedigree stuff when it comes to the mentality of a football team.
Absolutely. My next note, you're not going to believe that I actually wrote this down in my notes.
Oh, here we go.
But I've been very hard on Isaac Wilson this year, mostly just because it became a bit when I was a few deep on the Buffs.
Yeah.
But that was his best game as a collegiate quarterback by like a wide margin.
Yeah, man.
And again, you know, in the heat of the game, you don't necessarily notice it as much. But credit to it. I don't have like some long thing here, but I just got to give credit where it's due. He made some serious throws in that game, and obviously he's just a true freshman. So I was impressed with some of the things that he did. And you know, we might get to this a little later. Colorado needs Utah doesn't need anything. Colorado, if Utah were to beat Iowa State and Colorado were to win, and I think BYU were to win as well, Colorado would clinch their spot. I actually think Isaac Wilson maybe is on the up and up and could pull something like that off.
Man, I'm happy you said it because I saw it during the game, but also just rewatching today, you're truly seeing progression from that kid.
Yep.
If you've been following them, you know, from when he really started, he was thrown into the fire. He got kind of warmed up because it was Utah State in his first real start, but he's been through it, man, and he's struggled, but he had some really nice moments on Saturday. And I mean, who knows what he's going to be, but I think there's some promise if you're a Utah fan of watching that quarterback and thinking you might have something.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that Travis got beat on that long touchdown,
throw.
Well, mostly just goes to the fact is I don't think Travis thought he would ever do that.
Yeah,
like there's an element of surprise of like, is he actually? And then to execute it, even after that, it still had to be a perfect throw because Travis made up all of the ground that he lost and was, you know, within 6 inches of the ball probably, but he put it out there perfectly. So credit to him.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, you kind of mentioned it. Colorado needs wins from Utah and who's the other team? I'm already forgetting.
We don't need anything.
Well, we don't need it, but in order to clinch a spot in the Big 12 title game this weekend, Colorado has to beat Kansas, Utah has to win, and then ASU has to beat BYU.
Yep. And again, that's not to clinch at any time. That's just if all of that were to happen, Colorado would go to sleep on Saturday night with a ticket to the Big 12 championship in their hand.
Yep.
Which would be wild without even having to play the last game of the season. But yeah, no, did you say ASU has to win?
ASU has to win.
No. ASU has
It's
to
BYU?
lose. Yep.
Okay.
So if all that were to happen, I actually think it would just already be set. BYU, Colorado.
All right. Well, with that, I mean, we don't have to get into it too much. We have a whole week to talk Kansas, but Kansas just went into Provo and they kind of just messed up the game a whole bunch. There were 2 key turnovers that they got. Jalen Daniels had some big runs, some big throws, but BYU outgained them by over 100 yards. Kansas only gained 242 total yards. Jalen Daniels only threw for 169, 12 and 19. Like, this is a very beatable team.
Yeah, absolutely. Boy, did they muck that thing up. It was honestly
It was gross.
tough to watch. Yeah, I'm excited to watch this more analytically. We watched the game live at the DNVR bar. Throwing them back there. We had a DJ at the bar. It was absolutely
lit.
Like, probably the most lit, just straight up like bar atmosphere, not for a game that I've maybe ever seen at the DNVR bar. So that was really fun. And I guess I can say this. Shout out to all the Falcons fans who came there and made it really fun. And also sorry to send you home with that huge L. But
ETA.
Yeah, for real. But I think the Falcons fans became like my second favorite NFL fan base on Saturday night. Anyways, we were watching the game, no sound and all of that. So I'm excited to watch it again and take some notes. But I just felt like it was, man, this is ugly. This is a mess. BYU didn't really have a lot of answers. Didn't ever get any rhythm or anything going. And credit to Kansas, they made the big plays when they had to make them to get that done.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a backfield like Jaden Daniels and Devin Neal, you're gonna throw some problems at teams. That's kind of what it sometimes just boils down to that in college football. Do you have a talented backfield? Do you have a quarterback and a running back who can get it done? And they do. So it'll be fun though. I know there's a lot of Buffs fans already who have said they are going out to Kansas City for this game this weekend. It is at Arrowhead. It's not in Lawrence. And I mean, I truly don't know what to expect, but this isn't going to be an overwhelming home atmosphere for the Jayhawks this weekend.
No, I don't think so. I do think they're going to have a lot more fan support than they would have if this game was even 3 weeks ago.
Oh, for sure.
Now they've kind of taken on this moniker as Dragon Slayers. They took down Iowa State. They took down BYU. They've got Colorado, in their eyes as, oh, this is the next one that we can go get. And by the way, if they win their last 2 games, they get to go to a bowl. So they have a lot to play for.
Yep.
And I think that their fans will respond to that to a degree. But it still is an NFL game or a college game in an NFL stadium, which always hurts the atmosphere a bit. And if it were to fill up, I would think it would be because of the Colorado fans who are coming to fill it in more so than the Kansas fans who are, going to support the boys to push them over the hill to get to a bowl game. Like, I don't think they have that much. They don't have that good of fans in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Basketball school.
Yes, exactly.
I guess on that note, I mean, ASU did kind of put it on K-State. I mean, the score makes it look a lot closer than it actually was. I think it was 21-0 at halftime. ASU ends up winning 24-14. Are you threatened by the Sun Devils?
No. Great win for them. And, just for the all-city connection there, other than the fact that we could potentially clinch a spot this week if they lose, I'm kind of pulling for them because I think that would be a fun way for the Big 12 championship to play out. Colorado, ASU in the Big 12 championship game after CBSSports.com had Deion Sanders and Kenny Dillingham ranked as the 2 worst coaches in the conference.
Yep.
I think that would be fun. But no, I don't fear them. That's for sure.
I would say I'd rather play BYU than ASU.
Really?
Yes. I think that ASU I think they have better talent. I think that Scattaboo is a real problem in both factors, the running and pass game. Jordan Tyson, we obviously know what he can do, but he's been having a hell of a season. And I just trust Sam Levitt, I think, more than Jake Retzlaff.
Did you see what Draylen had on his eye black this week?
No, what did he say?
It said, fear none. That is where I'm at.
I didn't say fear.
You did. You said do you fear ASU?
Well, I was asking you, but I would rather play BYU than ASU.
BYU, ASU, KU. I don't care if they send the Kansas City Chiefs out of the locker room at Arrowhead this week. I fear none.
You're right. Heisman odds. I mean, Travis is like minus 400, minus 500 everywhere to win the Heisman. I mean, just wrap that thing up, send it to his house. So let's have the ceremony this week. Let's not waste anyone's time. Get the votes in now. It's over.
It sure as hell feels like that. And every time Colorado wins, it will just extend this. There's a real like the momentum behind it is crazy right now, and people are so caught up in stats, and it actually feels like the momentum behind this is actually not stat. Like, people are actually watching Colorado play now. And I guess they have been watching, but they're actually talking about what happens on the field, not just what it says in the box score. Like, when you see Travis Hunter make that catch over as much as 4 guys, if you want to go that far, you just say, like, okay, yeah, this guy is just different. He's better than everyone else. And when he makes that play cutting back on the reverse and cuts it upfield and, leaves the entire team in the dust, people just realize he's one of one. And I think that's what it comes down to more than anything else. That's what people are starting to realize, is that Travis Hunter is one of one. And it doesn't matter what your stats say. It doesn't matter what his stats say. He's better than everyone else. He's the best college football player in the country.
That he is. And it's clear and obvious at this point. So I can't wait. It's going to be fun watching Travis hoist that trophy here in a few weeks. You got anything else? That's all I got, really.
Well, that's all you have, period?
I mean, not period, but okay. Going back to what you said about the bar, if you went to the tailgate on Sunday too, the Broncos tailgate, that group made it out there and they turned up the tailgate. It was crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it was insane out there. But shout out to everyone who came out this week. I feel like we met a lot of people. I met a lot of people. Shout out to my guys Shamari and Onyx for coming and hanging out at the bar and just spending the whole weekend. The guys Travis, who I met yesterday at the DNVR bar, he was awesome. It was just a really cool weekend.
It was. I mean, best fan base in the country, hands down.
It's not even close.
Man, I have just a few things left in my notes. Just talking about this team's resilience. I think, again, you look at the scoreboard, it says 49-24. It's easy to forget that Will Shepherd fumbled the football. The score was 35-24 with 7 minutes left. Yep. There's a world there where the defense doesn't stand up. Utah goes down and scores and has a chance to go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. And that's not me saying that because it's like, oh, Utah really put a scare into Colorado. It's just like, there was this wasn't just an easy, cruise through it type of game. Like, they had to show their resilience. And a couple plays later, who is it? DJ McKinney gets his first career interception, which he manifested with Darius on the podcast. And I just love the way that this team, going back to that trust thing, the way that this team just makes big plays in big moments when they need it. Last week, I thought it was the offense. They're down 13-0. And they absolutely need a drive. So what does Shedeur do? He goes and gives them a drive. And it's just like, when they need it most, this team finds a way to make plays into, especially in these games where they have, where we've talked about them not being able to close, or maybe not necessarily not being able to, but not closing as well as they could have. Feels like they always make that play. There's moments against Texas Tech where it's like, oh, man, if they go down and score, this thing could get interesting. Boom, interception. Boom, strip sack, touchdown, they have that it factor of just like, okay, let's step up, that clutch factor. Everyone lock in, we got to go make a big play here.
And it goes back to, we talked about it a lot when Zay was kind of balling out in minicamp with the Cardinals this last offseason, how he's unflappable, how these guys have just been through the fire, man. They're built for this now. I mean, I truly think there's nothing that can really shake them. I think they can dig themselves out of almost any hole that they could find themselves in a game. And that's what it's going to come down to, especially this next weekend. That's how BYU lost to Kansas. They kind of beat themselves. And if this team continues to just making timely plays, not turning the ball over, not beating themselves, they're going to go a long way.
Yep. Also, I saw a question about this in the comments, so I'm making an official statement. I will not entertain any scenarios that involve CU losing a game, unless I have to cross that bridge. So I'm not looking at what if we lose. It's not how I roll.
Fair enough. I mean, why should you believe this team is going to stumble at this point with how hot they are right now?
Exactly. Just keep it rolling. Just win.
Just keep winning. What else you got?
I saw a couple follow-up questions on this. So because you confused people with you got it wrong.
Oh, sorry.
When you described how Colorado clinches this week. So it's a win over Kansas, of course. Utah beats Iowa State, and BYU beats ASU. Those three things happen. Colorado goes to bed on Saturday night with a ticket to Dallas.
Can't wait. It's gonna be fun.
It is gonna be fun. Should we get to the comments?
Super chats and questions. Yep.
Let's do it.
Alrighty, yeah. Shout out to Warren. Warren's back again. He says, you may talk about this before Super Chat, but I got to get back to work. If CU wins out, including Big 12 title or Big 12 championship, do they jump Boise for a top 4 seed, or do we need Boise State to lose? That's a good question.
These are the types of scenarios that I will talk about.
So right now, AP poll came out yesterday. Boise State is number 12, Colorado 16, BYU is 14. Of course, CFP comes out on Tuesday. I think Colorado just has to keep winning, and they'll jump them naturally.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's how I feel. Colorado wins out, and they win in the Big 12 championship game. That is when they'll make the move over Boise, and into that 4th spot to get the first round bye. Just for, I guess, some clarification on some of this stuff, because I've seen a million takes on this. So, 1, the top 4 highest ranked conference championship get auto bids and first round buys. Auto bids and first round buys. The 5th highest ranked conference championship gets an auto bid, no first round buy. And I think I actually messed this up last week. No guarantee of any seeding.
No.
They could be as low as the 12th seed.
Yep.
So that's where this comes in and is pretty important. And then the other part about this, which will not come into play, but because I've just seen people be wrong about it, I want to keep our people educated. If you are a conference champion from any conference in the country and you are not one of the top 5 highest rated conference champions, you do not get an auto bid. That means the SEC, the Big 12, the Pac-12, it doesn't matter. If you won the conference and for whatever reason you had 5 conference champions ahead of you and you were the 13 seed, you wouldn't get in. Now, again, that is not me fear-mongering, because there is no world, in my opinion, in which Army, I guess, would be the biggest threat in this case, would be able to get ranked over Colorado.
Yeah, I think it's Army. They're at 18 in the AP poll. The Washington State situation's weird. They're at 25 too. So, yeah.
They lost.
The Cape Crusader says the amount of hate Travis Hunter has been getting on Twitter lately is sad, really sad. The haters have fully redirected all their hate to Travis. Yeah, it's crazy to see. It really is.
I don't even know where to go with that. Like, I thought Travis Hunter was the one person involved with this program that was completely immune to hate. because he's like not only an elite football player, but he's done everything else perfectly. Like, he's
Literally 4.0 student.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's just a 10 out of 10, like perfect human. But of course, people, it all just comes down to wanting to push a narrative. And so I feel like most of the hate I've seen is just Boise fans trying to pull Travis down to push Ashton Jeanty up. And I think we've actually done a great job of, oh God, hit my desk there. I think we've actually done a great job of really never saying anything bad about Ashton Jeanty himself. We've questioned the competition, which I think is fair. You can get it into, you can get into force feeding and all of that. But like, in terms of Ashton Jeanty, the player, he's awesome. And I don't think anyone needs to say or like try to create a narrative that he's not good to prove that Travis Hunter is the best player in the country. Unfortunately, I don't think the same thing is true of Ashton Jeanty, meaning you don't have to say anything about Travis Hunter to prove that Ashton Jeanty is the best in the country. Like, no, because Travis Hunter is the best player in the country, you do have to create a narrative to try and spin up something that proves that Ashton Jeanty is the best player in the country. And that's what's happening here. So people are, twisting their minds into pretzels, trying to make some sort of point that is going to fall on deaf ears, because anyone who knows anything about football knows that tackles for a lockdown cornerback could not be more irrelevant.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And when Travis tackles someone, it's an impactful tackle. Usually, I mean, think of Baylor. I mean, when he's making tackles, it's to make a play. This isn't some guy chasing receivers down 30 yards downfield, gathering up tackles that way. So, yeah, that was insane. Never going to say anything bad about Ashton Jeanty because he's a baller.
Amen.
Matt Goldstein says, "Who the fuck is Nate Jackson? Epic Receipt Street."
I agree. Epic Receipt Street. Let's move on.
Alex says, "Want to hear opinions on this? People spreading random conspiracy that they downrank a player if they go to CU. I say that's false, but what about y'all?" No, that's 100% true. The proof is there. You can't even deny that.
Yeah, man. I'll just say from my experience, working in that industry, I don't know about. I shouldn't say that. I didn't directly hear about any downranking players because they committed to a certain school. What I did hear about is the opposite of that, which is upranking players because they committed to a certain school, and that school had pull, and that school did numbers, and people want to be in good with that school. So I guess what I'm saying here is that if one side of it can be true, it would not shock me if the other side of it can be true.
There you go. And what's next area? Q says, "How real do you think the Bear Alexander smoke is? People say he a locker room issue, but with Coach Prime and the D-line coaches, I don't see that would be the issue. Would be a great replacement for Block Bully." You want to answer this?
No, I mean, yeah, I would trust whatever the coaching staff decided on this. Yeah. I fully believe that if there's anyone, if there is a locker room issue, I don't know if that's just a narrative spun up by USC fans, but if there is a locker room issue, I wouldn't think there's anyone better in the country to, have a guy mature and get his head on straight than Coach Prime. And on the other side of that, if this, and not just Coach Prime, but this whole recruiting staff said, I think we're going to go in a different direction to try to fill that spot, then I would trust their evaluation.
Lincoln Riley did publicly call out Bear Alexander during the season for his lack of effort and just ability at practice. So we'll see.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley is in a position to cover his own ass. So if sometimes when you do that, other people take the brunt of it.
Facts. MLN, Keaton Wade redshirting. Don't think you can sit this baller. I don't know. I don't know what you do in this situation.
I'll always be pro player in this situation, because in the end, it is his future that we're talking about here. Like literally, not in the most literal sense, and also in the like overarching, like the future of his career, that sort of thing. But he's the one who has to make that decision, and whatever he makes, I'll ride for, because it's not an easy one, I don't think. But I also think that there's a chance that if they want to, they could sit him down and say, hey, man, we need you. We love what you're doing out there. And we think that it could be even better for your future to play in these games and to continue producing. I mean, he's on a ridiculous streak of production since he got on the field. If I were in his shoes, I would not want to sit out while I'm hot like that. But whatever he decides, I'm with him.
I mean, he said he's the one who brought that possibility up to the coaches when he had that press conference. He said, I took it to the coaches asking to redshirt. So I'd imagine it's still truly Keaton Wade's decision, and we'll see what he ends up deciding this week. I mean, they've obviously built a package and everything around him. They could use him as soon as Saturday, obviously.
Absolutely.
Chuck is asking, do we have tickets? Do we have to buy tickets for KU tailgate? Yes, on the website, ddnvr.com/events.
Yeah, this one's a little different than some of the other ones we've done. This is like an actual organized tailgate with a bar and food, catering. We're doing it big for this one. So, it is a ticketed event, but it's a lot more formal, and it'll be a lot, it should be a much bigger event than some of the ones we've had just meeting up with people around the bus. So hopefully, we deliver on, or I should say the third-party company delivers on making an awesome event. But you go back even to the Nebraska game, like that was an unreal tailgate, and that was a ticketed event as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a blast. And again, if there's as many people as it seems like that are going out to Kansas City, we're going to take it over too.
Amen.
Tampa Bong, 250 something says, sound the alarm. CBS Sports and Heather Dinich of ESPN are predicting that the winner of the Big 12, likely Colorado, will get the 12th seed in the college football playoff, with Boise State taking the 4 seed.
So I still don't think that will happen. But this is where maybe Coach Prime, if Colorado wins this week, starts the campaign a little bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the last time Coach Prime talked about this, he said, "Don't rank us," which I totally understood where his stance was coming from. But you've got people like Kirby Smart out there weekly lobbying for his team to be ranked higher. So maybe if Colorado gets the dub this week, we start using our poll a little bit to lobby as well.
I think it's time for that. Looking at just the AP poll here again, not the CFP, but there's not really a lot of tough games for a lot of these teams ahead of us, especially the SEC teams. I mean, Texas has to play Texas A&M, and Texas A&M is 15 right in front of Colorado. We, of course, already know, BYU can take care of itself. Miami and SMU look like they're going to play each other for the ACC title game. So someone will lose there. So, yeah, I'm just looking at it here. If it's kind of stays status quo, and the top 10 teams kind of just keep on doing what they're doing, I think it's possible that either Boise State or Colorado will be like 12 or 11 in the CFP this year.
And I don't think it'll be Colorado. I really don't.
The committee has, again, they've kind of valued conference title winners. They've shown that over the last few years. Obviously, things are different this year. And they've shown that they value the P5 or P4. So I wouldn't expect that to change too much.
Yep, absolutely. And I think you'll see Colorado keep creeping up the rankings to be in a position to where if they win the conference championship game, they will be able to jump Boise, and I don't think there will not be a difficult case for, because I know that'll be one of the first questions they asked in this awesome hypothetical world I'm thinking of, where they're like, what happened? Why was Colorado able to make the jump over Boise in these final rankings? And they'll go and say they went through a Power 4 schedule and won their conference championship game. The end.
Yep.
What other case would have to be made?
That's how it should be. That's exactly how it should be too.
And I think if there was if there was some crazy scenario where all the teams at the top of the Big 12 lost, and now you're adding losses, and it's a 3 or 4 loss team that comes out of there, then I think there's a case for it. But a 1-loss team coming out of 1-loss conference team coming out of the Big 12 will jump Boise. I really think they will.
Yep. CJ Swizy says, put a number on how many freshman recruits you think we signed this year. I think we're at 9 or 10 right now.
I'll say 20.
Yeah, I think the class doubles.
People are asking if Boise and CSU were to meet in the conference championship game, who should everyone be pulling for? I mean,
I haven't thought about that.
I know, it's a good question. That's such an interesting one. I mean, I think that you would probably be pulling for Colorado State, because if that game, if that happened, then Colorado would all be but guaranteed that 4th spot and a first-round bye in the college football playoff.
That, and it helps your resume, I think. If Colorado State ends up winning this Mountain West Conference, which would be insane to me. That actually helps out your resume quite a bit. You beat a conference title champion.
It wasn't until, I think, honestly, last week that I even found out that Colorado State was undefeated in conference.
Yeah.
I was like, really? Like, they're at second place right now. They're tied with Boise.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So that would be tough for them, because if Colorado State won, they would have a win over Boise. I don't think they would be able to jump the conference champions ahead of them.
No, it'd be Army or someone else. I mean, Tulane's up there in the American, or is Army the American too? So the American's already in there. They've already got 2 teams in the top 25.
Yeah, so I think that would be they'd get left out.
Bummer.
That reminds me of the NCAA like bid stealing kind of thing.
That would be a rough one for them, but yeah, bummer.
They heard me say pull for Colorado State, and now they're sending the cops.
Yeah, they're making sure you're okay. Chuck says, if we get the 12 seed, which seed y'all think we have to play against? We'll play the 5.
I really don't think that's going to happen. Really don't. By the way, Colorado now on Bet365 -110 to win the Big 12. Remember, everything that we've been talking about is make the Big 12 championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Win out, make the Big 12 championship game. They're now putting Colorado as the odds-on favorite to win the Big 12 championship game, with a massive, massive gap between them and BYU at +320 behind them. Arizona State behind that at +375. And I'm guessing part of this has to do with the fact that Colorado is the hottest team in the conference. But the other part of this has to do with the fact that BYU and Arizona State are essentially playing a play-in game this week.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you don't know which one of those 2 teams is coming out of it.
Not only all that, on Bet365, Colorado's -130 to make the playoff.
Which, again, is really interesting. They're saying Colorado has a better chance of making the playoff than winning the conference. Yet, most people say Colorado has to win the conference to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Just an interesting kind of thing that the odds are telling us there.
BYU, by the way, +300 to make the playoff.
Wow.
Yeah. That's where we're at. All right, what's next? Allison says, first super chat, longtime fan. Who do we want in the Big 12 title game, BYU or ASU? Thanks for all your insight. People are always impressed by my player knowledge, and it's mostly due to y'all. Thank you. That's awesome. Appreciate you, Allison.
I love that. I had a similar comment this week. Someone said, man, I was, just making comments about the game, about the players in the stands the other day during the game. And the people around me are like, how do you know all this stuff? And I told them I listen to DNVR every day.
Let's go. Hell yeah.
That's an awesome compliment.
Yes, that's up there. That's one of the best. We already talked about who we'd want in the Big 12 title game. I said I'd rather have BYU.
Don't care.
Chuck says, welcome to the kingdom this weekend, Buff Nation. Can't wait to kick it with everyone who comes out to the tailgate at Chiefs Kingdom, #Go Buffs.
I can't believe you even said that.
I was reading a super chat. I did not say anything.
Yeah. Can I read? So let's see if I can scroll back far enough to read you this. Because I got a text from someone when the Broncos. Here it is. When the Broncos played at Arrowhead, this is the text I got. One last thing. No one talks enough about how shitty the vibes are around the Chiefs Stadium. This place sucks so much. Also said, people build this place up to be like a mecca of football. It blows so much. My stadium takes are always on point. Kansas City, actually low-key kind of fun. The stadium itself is just in the middle of nowhere. And there's nothing special about it other than it's just been around for a while.
This will be my first time ever going there and checking it out, but I'm sure CU will turn it up a little bit at least to make it a little bit better than usual.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, we haven't talked about this, I don't think. Bro, I'm being so serious when I say if you don't have a pair of binoculars, you should honestly invest in some before you go cover a game from this press box.
Oh, I have some.
Okay.
They're only 5X though. Do I need to invest in more powerful binoculars here?
Potentially, like maybe just get a telescope. Dude, I'm telling you, this press box is in the clouds. It's ridiculous. Do you remember the ASU one?
Yeah, we were way up there.
Like considerably higher.
No, come on, please.
I'm telling you, bro. The last time I was there covering a game, I think it was 2016, maybe 17. And the Broncos had two main running backs at the time. It was C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles. C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles, very different styles, right? Very different body types.
Yeah.
Until they started running, I couldn't tell which one was in the backfield.
All right. Well, we'll find out then.
This thing is in the sky, bro.
You need to tell Alyssa to break out her grandma glasses or something then, because she's really going to need them this weekend.
For real.
Elizabeth says, what's our defensive stats versus tight ends so far? I feel like that is our weakness, especially against tall possession tight ends. Who had Cincinnati had a good one that we played against.
Mm-hmm. What was the question? Sorry, it came down so fast.
She was asking for our stats of Colorado defending tight ends. I don't have those, but she's just saying that she felt like big, tall possession tight ends are a weakness.
I don't think it's been that big of a problem. Obviously the play that Utah ran to get that touchdown was kind of crazy. I want to steal that one. Mm-hmm. Because that was straight up basketball.
Yeah.
But they had a couple big plays to the other tight end going up to get in that position in the first place. And I don't think that necessarily had to do with the tight end. It was just Colorado. I'm assuming Colorado's in cover 3, which exposes the seam a little bit. And Isaac Wilson just threw darts over the linebacker under the safety. That's how you beat that coverage. And it wouldn't have mattered if it was a big tight end or a scat back. The throws were in the right spot.
Yeah, exactly. Just from Saturday alone, it was just, I think, Zach Wilson making some throws and hitting some spots against Colorado's defense. It just happens. It is what it is. But I do think, I mean, I guess Jalen Conyers had a good game against the Buffs. So I don't know. I've seen teams handle tight ends a lot worse than this Colorado team, though.
For sure. And again, well, I guess Conyers, one his touchdown was definitely just about a size mismatch, and that's what he
Right.
brings to the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways.
Gary says, "Where's the tailgate in KC?" I don't know off the top of my head.
It's right near the stadium.
I'm pulling it up.
I meant to talk about this too, and I think I did on the postgame show, but one of those seam passes was about to be a Colton Hood pick. And it seems like his legs got tangled up again somehow. And he, basically was like trying to reach for the ball while falling down. I think that if he stays on his feet, that's a pick. So they did kind of make an adjustment there.
Guy's got to stay on his feet. He'd have so many big plays if he could just stay on his feet.
And he still does have a lot of big plays.
He does. I only see an address. Just go to the website, thednvr.com/events, and then click on the tailgate for this weekend, and you can find the tickets, address, all that stuff. How many players are following Juju to CU? I mean, you can't even say right now because did you see Zeke Helton, the 2026 Carrollton offensive lineman, basically saying, what do you say? What's the move or something like that? Like,
yeah, tell me
this. Yeah, so this thing has, when Juju makes his decision and if he comes to Colorado, it's going to have an impact this year. It's going to have an impact next year because let's not forget he's reclassified. He was a 2026 kid. So all the guys his age who he's probably played youth football with for a long, long time are still a year below him in high school right now, and they're not going to be making commitments till next year.
Yeah, for sure. Over under 4.5 this year.
Over.
Okay.
Over.
I'll take it as well.
Do you guys see Kobe Bryant talking about the match with Travis? He thinks it's going to be sweet. I'm sure it will be sweet. It's going to be a lot of fun.
They mean a different kind of sweet, but yeah, man. Hey, I'll say this. That's what I want. That's the attitude that I want my corner to have.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what it looks like after the game.
No. Dion says, looking at CU season versus K-State, do you think Dylan regrets entering the portal, even looking at his role at K-State? Dylan is, I mean, what he did was a decision for him. He's having success. That's all I have to say, really.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I'm sure there's a lot of guys who are questioning their decision.
Sure.
But
for
I don't know.
Multiple schools all around the country.
I don't know. I don't know if Dylan's one of those.
He's home.
I don't know.
He's literally home now.
Yeah, he literally went back home and is like best friends with Avery Johnson or whatever.
Keaton says,
pretty sure got a nice little bag to go alongside it.
Keaton says Sean Keeler wrote a Travis for Heisman piece. Who?
Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah, I know who that is. Don Peasy, how much do like opponents matter in the CFP rankings considering CU destroyed the second-ranked Mountain West team and probable conference championship opponent in CSU? I think CU should be ranked higher than Boise State. I think right now the rankings are just BYU has fewer losses than Colorado, and that's why they're ahead.
Yeah. I should do my I think I did this once before. I just got to go dig it up. I should surface my Travis Hunter stats if he played every game in the Mountain West tweet.
Hell yeah, it's time.
I love it. But yeah, I think that'd be interesting. I think it would play a role. Let's just say that Boise and CSU do meet in the championship game and it's a close game. I think the committee would at least put a little bit of, okay, this is a common opponent between these two teams, and this is how the two games went. But at the same time, we want the committee to be judging us based on the way we're playing at the end of the season rather than the beginning of the season. And so, I just mentioned that because Colorado State's obviously a different team than when we played them.
Beyond you just with the $1.99 super chat. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Chuck says y'all got to try Gates barbecue while in town.
We have
a
lot of suggestions,
yeah,
and only so many meals. But Gates is on my list of one that I haven't tried when I've been there before that I know I need to.
We're gonna have some cool barbecue content this weekend.
Yes, sir.
Here you go. Beyonde says, I'm calling it now. Colorado versus ASU in the Big 12 title game. Book the tailgate spot. Let's go.
That's actually one where I think we could do a double tailgate.
Probably. For real. It'll be fun. East Coast Kev says, with college football imploding, everything is falling into place for Colorado. All they have to do is keep winning. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Key says, RK, I still want my positive receipt streak.
Yeah, Key called it. He called us partnering up with Dukes. So he gets his positive receipt.
Shout out to Key. Shout out to Dukes.
Yes.
You'll see Duke soon. Soon.
Absolutely.
Chuck says, LOL, I watch the show every day, and I fuck with y'all boys along. Hey, no Diddy, but we did beat the Broncos and are back-to-back champs. So let's stop the slander on the champs. It's all love, though, boys.
I don't think I said anything about the actual Chiefs, except for that I would take the Buffs against them head-to-head.
Here's the thing, man. If you want to hear good things about the Kansas City Chiefs, you are in the wrong chat, brother. I am sorry.
Yep.
Love from New Jersey from that.
We love you. Thank you.
We do love you. Stanford Hyga says, RK, have you reached out to anybody about that? I believe that we can win, chant.
The biggest problem with all of this is that there's not someone to reach out to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no one in charge of the students. There's no governing body of the student section. There used to be, and I think it died out for a few different reasons. One of them just being COVID. But it's there's no one to reach out to. Like someone who's watching this who's a student, which I know there are, has got to take it and run with it. I certainly can't walk up there with a megaphone and get it started.
I mean, you could.
Yeah. Those days are behind me.
Fair enough. All right, is that it?
That is.
All right.
Oh, wait. Is that it? I thought I saw one more come in. No, never mind.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a cool show. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun week. Cherish these days, man. This team is special. And we only have so many games left. So enjoy every day.
I know all of y'all are like me, and you can't focus on anything during these weeks between games. It is so hard. And as the stakes get higher, the focus gets harder. So hang in there. Got 4 more days until the weekend. But for us, it's only a couple more days before we get on the bus. So we can manage. Exactly.
Coach Prime and players tomorrow, media Monday or media Wednesday, and then on the bus Thursday. There's a lot of content coming your guys' way. So see you tomorrow. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.